Leo wasn't supposed to be in the dusty attic, but the rain drumming relentlessly on the old farmhouse roof made the familiar rooms feel small, and the pull of the unknown space above was irresistible. Cobwebs draped like ghostly curtains, and forgotten furniture huddled under yellowed sheets as he squeezed between a broken rocking horse and a stack of ancient National Geographics. His foot struck something solid and metallic. Kneeling, he brushed away decades of grime, revealing an ornate wooden box, its dark surface carved with swirling patterns. It felt heavy with secrets, and nestled perfectly in its lock was a large, tarnished silver key shaped like a tiny tree. His heart hammered with a thrilling mix of trespass and discovery. What treasures or mysteries did this forgotten box hold? The key turned surprisingly smoothly. With a soft, satisfying click, Leo lifted the lid, releasing a scent of old paper, dried lavender, and time itself inside. No gold coins or glittering jewels greeted him. Instead, he found layers of delicate tissue paper protecting bundles of faded letters tied with blue ribbon, sepia-toned photographs showing serious-faced people in old-fashioned clothes, a dried sprig of wildflowers crumbling at the edges, and a single, small, leather-bound book. The top photograph caught his eye. A young girl, maybe his own age, with familiar bright eyes and a gap-toothed grin, standing beside a horse in a field Leo recognized as the South pasture. She looked remarkably like his grandma, but happier, freer, somehow. Holding the photograph carefully, Leo crept downstairs. He found Grandma Alara in her worn armchair by the kitchen window, knitting needles clicking softly as she watched the rain. "Grandma?" Leo whispered, holding out the picture. Her hands stilled. The needles slipped from her fingers, clattering onto the floorboards. A tremor passed through her as she took the photo, her eyes widening, then filling with a sudden, deep well of tears that didn't follow. "Leo," she breathed, her voice thick with emotion. "You found the memory box. I thought it was lost forever when the old chest collapsed years ago." She touched the girl's face in the photo with infinite tenderness. "That was me. That was Alara." Long before the world grew heavy, Grandma Alara drew Leo close as the afternoon light faded. Opening the little leather book, she pointed to a pressed violet. "This," she said, her voice regaining strength, "was from the meadow behind the old mill, where I met your grandfather. We were only children then, building forts and dreaming silly dreams." She described long, sun-drenched summers filled with the scent of hay, the taste of stolen berries, the sound of crickets singing at dusk. She spoke of laughter echoing across the fields, of learning to ride on gentle old Daisy, of picnics under the ancient oak tree that still stood sentinel on the hill. Her words painted vivid pictures of a childhood vastly different from Leo Euro's own, yet achingly familiar in its simple joys. He saw the young girl in the photo come alive through her memories, but the story shifted as Grandma turned the pages. Her voice grew quieter, tinged with a sorrow Leo had never heard before. She spoke of the year the skies darkened, not with rain, but with the shadow of a distant war. She described the day the telegram arrived, bringing news that shattered their peaceful world. She spoke of the silence that descended on the farmhouse, replacing laughter with worry, replacing picnics with long hours of helping with extra chores. "We grew up quickly then, Leo," she murmured, tracing a faded line in the diary. "The fields felt emptier, the winters colder. We learned about loss, about waiting, about holding on to hope even when the nights felt endless." Leo felt the weight of that past settle around them. The most precious items were the letters, written in a strong, slanting hand. Leo didn't recognize these, Grandma said, carefully untying the blue ribbon. "Are from my brother, Thomas. He was sent far away, across the ocean." She read snippets aloud, descriptions of strange cities, funny mishaps with army food, expressions of longing for home, promises to return. One letter described a dream he had of riding Daisy through the South pasture again. "He wrote this just before." Grandma's voice caught, a single tear finally escaping. "He never did ride Daisy again." Finding this box, "Leo, it's like finding a piece of him, a piece of my own young heart, that I thought was locked away forever." Leo understood now the deep sadness, sometimes hidden in her eyes. That rainy afternoon sparked a new tradition. Leo carefully returned the memory box to a safe shelf in the living room, not the dusty attic on quiet evenings. Grandma would open it, and together they would explore its treasures. Leo learned about his great-uncle Thomas's courage, about his great-grandmother's resilience, about the simple, profound love that bound their family through hardship. He learned the names of the serious-faced people in the photographs and the stories behind the crumbling wildflowers. The past wasn't just dates in a book. It was the laughter, tears, hopes, and fears of people whose blood ran in his veins. The key hadn't just opened a box. It had unlocked a door to understanding where he came from. Years later, long after Grandma Alara had passed peacefully in her sleep, Leo stood in the same south pasture, now bathed in golden evening light. His own son, Finn, tugged at his hand. "Papa, what's that?" Finn pointed to the old oak tree on the hill. Leo smiled, pulling the familiar, tarnished silver key, shaped like a tiny tree, from his pocket. "This, my boy," he said, kneeling down, "is the key to a very special story, a story about my grandma and her brother. And this very farm, a story about remembering." As he placed the cool metal into Finn's small hand, Leo felt the unbroken thread of memory, love, and family stretching back through time, stronger than any lock, ready to weave its magic for a new generation. The key had found its true purpose, unlocking hearts across the years.